At my son's Vineyard wedding, his bride giggled, $62,000 is your ticket in. My ex coughed, or you can watch from the road. I looked at the invitation, whispered, declined, and pressed one button. 5 minutes later, the power cut, the music stopped, and a helicopter landed on their cake. And that was just the beginning. $62,000, Dad, Lacey said, not even glancing up from her little wedding planning binder. That's your ticket in. She said it like it was nothing, like she was quoting the price of a hotel room, like we weren't standing under the Vineyard arch where I was supposed to watch my only son get married next month. I blinked. I wasn't sure if I'd heard her right, but then my ex-wife, Kelly, let out a cough that was half a laugh. Or, she added, swirling her overpriced champagne, you can watch from the road. There's a hill, great view. That was their idea of a compromise. We were at a pre-wedding wine tasting, supposedly a casual family moment, the kind where everything's catered, everything's posted, and everyone smiles through gritted teeth. Lacey was in a white linen dress, perfectly pressed. Kelly was wearing something spiritual-looking and fake. My son, Alex, just stared at the wine glass in front of him like it held all the answers. I looked at him. I waited. Dad, this isn't about money, he finally said. But even he didn't sound convinced. It's about contributing, showing support. I mean, Lacey's family helped a lot. I knew what that meant. Her dad bought the venue. Her mom paid for the drone videographer. And me? I guess I was supposed to be lucky to be breathing their vineyard air. I looked down at the invitation card in front of me, thick, gold-trimmed. A little line at the bottom in calligraphy font read, attendance requires contribution to Joy Fund. $62,000 minimum. Below, there were 2 boxes, accept with contribution, decline. I didn't say a word. Just pulled out my phone, scrolled to a name I hadn't touched in months, and pressed one button. Activated, I said, flat and calm. 5 minutes. I could still hear Kelly whispering to Lacey, probably some smug commentary about how he always was dramatic. But I didn't care. I had booked it weeks ago. They thought it was for drone footage. I never corrected them. I didn't plan revenge. I just wanted to be heard without saying a word. Exactly 4 minutes and 38 seconds later, the lights flickered. The string lanterns above the tasting tables went dark. The speakers cut mid-song. This wasn't sabotage, not anger. It was a message, not for them, but for me, a gesture of boundary drawn in wind and timing. The vineyard fell into a buzzing, confused silence. And then, over the trees, loud and low, a helicopter appeared. People gasped. One woman screamed. The wind from the blade sent wine glasses crashing to the ground and ripped menus off tables. They brought in a replica of the actual wedding cake for photos, visual rehearsal, they called it. Apparently, even the frosting needed its moment. Lacey shrieked, my cake, as the gust lifted the fondant-covered monstrosity right off its pedestal. The helicopter descended with clinical precision, landing dead center on the custom floral aisle runner. I didn't move. I just stood there, still holding the invitation card in one hand, my thumb still resting on the power button of the remote in my pocket. And that was just the beginning. But before we get to what came after the helicopter, let's rewind. Let me show you how I got here. The first time I paid for Alex's tuition, he sent me a text that said, Tech. That was it. No call. No, thank you for saving my future. Just 3 letters and a thumbs-up emoji. I told myself he was just busy. The second time, it was Lacey who messaged me, not with gratitude, but a request. Can we increase the rent support for the new place? Parking isn't included. Not, we found a place. Not, we're excited. Just another invoice dressed up as small talk. It had been like that for years. After the divorce, I got used to being the man behind the curtain. Kelly got the house. I got the bills. I didn't fight for much. I just wanted my son to feel safe. That's what I told myself every time I wired money. Every time I let Kelly tell her friends she was rebuilding, while I worked overtime to fund her yoga retreats and Alex's sudden need for a MacBook every year. I kept thinking if I just hold on a little longer, they'll see what I've done. They never did. Alex graduated and moved in with Lacey into a condo I co-signed for, though no one talks about that. She called it their freedom phase, like I wasn't still footing the water bill. Then came the wedding. At first, it was supposed to be simple, courthouse, maybe a dinner. Then her parents stepped in. Suddenly, it was a 200-guest vineyard affair with 3 outfit changes, a champagne wall, and a string quartet flown in from Italy because the groom's side should match the bride's energy. Only they didn't ask me to contribute. They handed me a number, $62,000. I said, I'll think about it. 2 days later, my face showed up in a private Facebook group called Vendor Confirmations, the real wedding circle. Lacey had posted a poll asking which chair style screamed generational wealth more. Underneath it was a comment, waiting on groom's dad's payment to finalize tint design. I hadn't agreed to anything. That same day, I got a text from my ex-wife, Kelly, let's not make this harder than it needs to be. They're your family, too. Me? I'm thinking, Kelly, think faster. You're already late on the deposit. And Alex? Not a word. Not even, hey, Dad. I'm sorry they put you on blast like that. I let it go. Told myself I'd deal with it after the tasting event. Big mistake. The day after the helicopter landed on their overpriced wedding cake, I expected war. Instead, I got silence. Then the smearing began. Lacey's cousin, someone I hadn't seen since Alex's high school graduation, posted a shaky video of me standing quietly during the tasting. The caption read, "When the dad thinks it's his day." Hashtag toxic masculinity, hashtag my wedding no tears. The comments lit up, isn't he the one who walked out on them? Deadbeat energy. If you can't pay, just say that. They had weaponized the silence. And they were winning, until I got the call. It was from Amanda, my niece, Kelly's sister's daughter. She'd always been the quiet one in the corner at family dinners. The observer. She was crying. "They're saying awful things about you in the family chat," she said. I figured, I muttered. "No, I mean they're rewriting everything, saying you refused to help, that you tried to ruin the wedding, that the helicopter was your meltdown moment. Lacey said you were unhinged." I didn't speak. Then she sent screenshots, dozens of messages from Kelly. He always had control issues. I'm honestly scared of what he might do. From Lacey, we told him nicely. He's just bitter. Alex isn't his little boy anymore. From Alex, he's just mad the spotlight isn't on him. That one broke something in me. The next morning, I drove to the storage unit I hadn't opened in 5 years. In the back, buried under a box labeled tax docs, was an old hard drive, Alex's old laptop backup. I'd saved it when he was moving out, thinking maybe one day he'd want to recover his teenage photos. Instead, I found documents, PDFs, invoices, spreadsheets, a folder labeled Dad Help Money with Wings. Inside, hundreds of payment records, forwarded emails, bank statements showing my transfers. One file stood out, a shared wedding planning doc. It listed every vendor, their price, and a column titled Dad's Share, $62,000 wasn't a suggestion. It was a budget line. Next to it, a comment from Lacey, "If he doesn't pay, we cut him." Drama equals content. Anyway, they were planning to exploit me either way. That's when I found the audio file. It was from a call between Lacey and her mom. The voice memo had synced by accident from her iPhone's backups. I played it. "He's not coming unless we beg," Lacey said, laughing. "Then don't beg," her mother replied. "Fine, let him sulk. We'll say he was unstable. No one questions trauma anymore." I played that file 3 times, not because I couldn't believe it, but because I could. A week later, I got a wedding update email. Apparently, the venue had experienced electrical inconsistencies and was now under investigation. Am I admitting anything? Maybe. Did I confirm or deny? Never. Then came the second blow. Alex emailed me, not texted, emailed, "Hey Dad, given everything that's happened, we think it's best you don't attend. You'll be refunded your RSVP contribution. All the best, Alex." Refunded. I hadn't paid a cent, so I clicked reply, typed 2 words, declined refund, and I attached something else. An MP3, the voice memo, the one where Lacey and her mom planned to call me unstable. Then I blind CC'd every vendor listed in that spreadsheet, and I signed it, from the father of the groom, still paying, still watching. A day later, the cake designer canceled. The violinist posted a vague TikTok about turning down unethical gigs. And someone hacked Lacey's Pinterest board, replacing all the mood boards with black and white stills of disaster weddings. I got another email, this time from Kelly. "What are you doing? You'll ruin his life. You've always been jealous of anyone who loves him more than you." I didn't answer. I forwarded it to Amanda. Subject, file under gaslight. Then I called someone I hadn't spoken to in years, my brother, Mark. He left the family when he was 22, moved to Alaska. Said the whole bloodline was poison. I used to think he was bitter. Now I knew he was just early. "Mark," I said, "you still got that drone license?" He laughed. "Still got the drone, too." "What?" I told him the date, the time, the coordinates, and that I wanted footage, not of the wedding, of what came next. I wasn't planning to show up at the wedding, but they fired the first shot. After I refused to pay the $62,000 contribution, I was cut from the guest list. No call, no message, just a sleek little PR campaign online. Not everyone can handle joy, and that's okay. Our wedding, our peace. They turned me into the villain. They said I was unstable, bitter, dangerous. So, I pressed the button. The helicopter wasn't random. It was precision. I called Mark, my brother. We hadn't spoken in 8 years. Former military, now works in logistics, the kind of man who can get a helicopter if you ask the right way. I asked the right way. I paid for the flight, the pilot, the permit. I even marked the landing zone 2 months earlier when I offered to help with setup, the exact center of the lawn, the same spot they later placed the cake. They thought I was being helpful. Really, I was setting the target. It arrived exactly 5 minutes after I gave the signal. At first, guests looked up smiling. They thought it was a surprise photo op. Then came the wind. It ripped veils, shattered champagne flutes, blew seating charts across the lawn, and then the cake. All $8,000 of it rose, spun, and exploded in a rain of frosting and sugar. Kelly screamed. Lacey stood frozen, splattered in fondant. And Alex, my son, just stared at the ruin like it was a mirror. I didn't watch the chaos. I walked through it, calm, straight toward the stage. There was a microphone set up for the first dance speeches. I stepped up, took it in my hand. I didn't yell. Before the dancing starts, I said, voice even, I'd like to offer the first truth. Silence. A few camera phones went up. Lacey bolted toward the stage. You're trespassing. This is harassment. I didn't look at her. I opened my bag, took out a tablet, and hit play. The audio played clear over the speakers. He's not coming unless we beg. Then don't beg. Fine, we'll say he was unstable. No one questions trauma anymore. It was Lacey's voice and her mother's. I looked out at the crowd. That's from her iCloud backup, synced to a phone she didn't know I still had access to. She planned to frame me if I didn't pay. A gasp. Lacey lunged for the tablet. I stepped back. Don't worry, there are copies, including with the venue's legal team, since my card paid their deposit. That quieted her. Then came the second file, a shared Google document, wedding planning master, column E, dad share $62,000. Comment beside it, if he refuses, cut him. Drama equals content. Anyway, I turned the screen toward the guests. Didn't explain. Didn't need to. Screenshots say more than tears. And then I invited someone else up, Amanda, my niece, the only person from that entire family who ever asked if I was okay. She took the mic, hands steady. Hi, I'm Amanda. I saw the family group chat. I saw what they said about him. I saved it in case they tried to rewrite it. She tapped the screen. Up popped more messages. He's selfish. He'll pay eventually. If not, we cut him at rehearsal dinner. Makes better headlines. More gasps. Kelly stood up, shaking. You can't do this. Not here. Not today. I looked right at her. You did this. I'm just finishing the sentence. Lacey tried one last time. You're ruining our wedding. And I said, no, I'm answering it. You put a price on family, so I'm giving you your invoice. The crowd was already shifting. Some were leaving. Some were filming. Some were crying. Alex, my son, still hadn't spoken. He looked at me once, just once. I said nothing. I wasn't speaking to him anymore. I left the tablet on the stage, turned, and walked out while the wedding playlist started playing again like nothing had happened. And maybe for them, nothing had. But for me, that was the last time I ever stood in the middle of a lie and let it call itself love. The next morning, I woke up to 37 missed calls, 12 from Kelly, 7 from Alex, 3 from a number that turned out to be a wedding influencer, and 1, surprisingly, from Lacey's dad. I didn't answer a single one. Instead, I made coffee, opened my laptop, and posted a single message titled, My Role in the Wedding, a Statement. I didn't name names. No need. I uploaded the screenshots, the planning doc with the dad's share, the text message from Alex where he says I'm no longer essential, the audio clip where Lacey plotted the trauma angle, a receipt of every payment I'd made for the venue, dress deposit, and even the chair covers. I didn't rant. This isn't about revenge, I wrote. It's about patterns. It's about the price of silence. And what happens when you stop letting people invoice your guilt? Within an hour, the post had 3,000 shares. By noon, the screenshots were everywhere. A wedding subreddit stickied it. Someone made a TikTok recap with background piano music. The hashtag #JoyFunJustice started trending. But the best part? Vendors started commenting. We were told he refused to pay. Turns out he was the only one who did. Confirmed. He covered the cake deposit, the one that went airborne. By evening, even their wedding photographer pulled out. He posted a story, if your wedding begins with a lie, I won't be the one to edit around it. That night, I received an email from a podcast producer. She wanted to interview me, the dad who said no. I declined. Not because I was scared, but because I didn't need to prove anything anymore. Instead, I did something else. I launched a website, not a blog, a brand. Declined. Minimalist design, black and white, just one message on the homepage. You don't owe toxic people your presence. Read the truth. Then write your own. It linked to the files. No drama, no names, just facts. By morning, I had 3 speaking requests. One from a conference on boundaries, one from a retreat for estranged adult children, and one from a publishing house. I smiled, not because I wanted fame, but because for once, I owned the narrative. The family? Oh, they didn't go quiet. Alex posted a blurry Instagram story. Blood is thicker than screenshots. Lacey made a tearful TikTok. We were trying to protect our peace. Kelly wrote a 900-word Facebook essay titled, When Narcissists Invade Holy Days. She compared me to a deeply disturbed saboteur. Then she tagged my mother. I hadn't spoken to my mom in years, but she replied, I told you this would happen if you kept treating him like a debit card. And just like that, their own echo chamber cracked. Then came the real twist. Lacey's first fiancé messaged me, said he saw the files, said it explained everything, said thank you. Then he sent me a screenshot, a thread Lacey posted in a private Discord. It was about leveraging trauma optics for brand deals. He forwarded it to one of her sponsors. Within 48 hours, her skincare collab dropped her. The brand posted, we stand for honesty and empathy, not weaponized narratives. I didn't share that win. Didn't need to. Some victories are meant to be silent. But here's what I did do, I changed my number, set a new voicemail. If you're calling to apologize, please know it's already been accepted by me. For me? Not for you. I moved. Not far. Just far enough. A little cabin just outside Mendocino. Peaceful. Solar-powered. Paid in full. The sign by the mailbox, declined in steel letters. Black mat. Some people install fences. I prefer a sentence. It's quiet out here. No drones, no guests, no dad. Just messages. Just whine through the trees, the crunch of gravel under boots, and the occasional fox that thinks I owe him breakfast. And for once in my life, I don't owe anyone anything. They tried, one last time. 2 weeks after the wedding fallout, I got a letter, actual mail. It was from Alex. 3 pages, handwritten, folded neatly, started like this. I know I didn't defend you. I know I let it happen, but I didn't know how deep it went. I really didn't. It wasn't an apology. It was a receipt of guilt stamped too late. I didn't reply. I didn't need to because closure isn't about hearing, I'm sorry. It's about realizing you were never crazy. Lacey sent a DM, too. Just one line, you ruined my life. I didn't answer that either. Some people think silence is weakness. Let them. Sometimes silence is just peace that stopped explaining itself. Funny thing is, once people know they can't use you, they either vanish or try to join your journey too late. Kelly tried both. First, she disappeared from social media. Then she reappeared, rebranded as a healing coach. She posted a quote over a lavender sky, sometimes the villain is just someone who finally said no. I almost laughed. She wasn't wrong. She just didn't know it was about her. I didn't build a brand from all this. I built a life. I opened a consultancy, remote work, private clients, people who wanted help setting boundaries with their families. My first workshop, How to Say No Without Writing a Novel, sold out in 2 days. And the land? I named the cabin. It's not on Google Maps. No tags, no geolocation. But the sign on the gate says the RSVP is still declined, steel letters, same font as the wedding invite. Except this one doesn't ask for payment. This one means I'm done. Sometimes people stop at the bottom of the trail. They look at the sign, look up at the woods, wonder if this is still the guy who landed a helicopter on a cake. And yeah, I am, but not because I needed revenge. Because I needed air. I don't check the family chat. Amanda left it. Alex is still in it, quiet, apparently. Kelly posts quotes. Lacey's occasionally reposting MLM links. Same as always. But I don't read it because I'm not in it. I don't regret the money, or the silence I broke, or the storm I brought. You can't regret saving yourself. And that's what this was. Not a tantrum, not revenge. Just finally turning off the tap and watching people panic when entitlement runs dry. The other day, a delivery guy asked me what the sign meant. Why decline? I smiled. Because some invitations aren't worth answering. And that's all I said, because that was the last sentence I owed anyone.